Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen. On the menu today, jerk chicken fried rice. You know what I always say, ain't nothing to it but to do it, so let's get to it. Now I've got the chicken going already. It's had marinated for like overnight, like 12 hours. So I put the jerk seasoning on it. You can make your own, but I used it out of a bottle. I used the jerk billy seasoning, but you can make your own. It's fairly easy to make. It's got a lot of ingredients, but it's pretty easy to make your own jerk sauce. Anyway, I'm going to list the ingredients for this recipe down below. However, I do have another fried rice recipe that may make it a little bit easier to see what I'm doing exactly. So I've got another one. Check it out on my channel if you have a chance. But anyway, let's keep going with the chicken. I'm going to put the chicken in a bowl. Now make sure if you do this and you have that juice that the chicken made, put the juice in with the chicken, because you can use a little bit of that juice towards the end when you're doing the rice. So just put it all in the bowl. Don't drain the juice. So don't drain the chicken. It's not necessary to do that. All right, now if you need to, give your wok a quick wipe down with a paper towel or something, but I didn't deem it necessary right here. So I'm just going to keep going. But we want to get the wok back a little bit hot. So then we're going to go a little olive oil, then I'm going to put the onions in. Now, woks are designed for use of high heat. So what happens here though is we don't want to use high heat because we don't want to burn the onions. So what we want to do is use a medium heat right here. And cook these onions until they are translucent, which means you can sort of see through them a little bit, and then they're really done. But if you like your onions more on the raw side, give them a couple minutes, stir them around, and then take them out. So if you're going to make it the same way that I make it, then we're going to leave these in until they are translucent. So I'll give it a little stir around, and keep stirring too. So you don't want it on high heat, and you don't want to leave them because you don't want them to burn. You don't want the edges to turn dark because that's what happens. So you don't want a nasty taste in your food. So here you just want to make sure that you let your onions cook down, but don't burn them. And then we're going to do the eggs next. So we're going to do everything, the ingredients, sort of like right in a row. Right in succession, if you know what I mean. We're going to do that like we did the chicken, and we did the onions, and then we're going to do the eggs. So this fried rice is really, really, really easy, and it's tasty. You will love it. So if you've had fried rice before, but not jerk chicken fried rice, or you can even do a jerk steak fried rice, or something like that. But this works out. Use any kind of meat you like. Just make sure you marinate that meat overnight, like at least 10 to 12 hours probably. You'll get a nice flavor in that meat. So all right, so here we've let the onions cook down quite a bit. I'm going to cook down a little bit more. All right, and if I didn't mention it before, this is a white onion, but you can use yellow onion. You could use green onions if you want to. So you can use any kind of onions you want. You can also use a little bit of onion powder if you want to. So this works out fine for me though. So you've got your choice of onions. So anytime with fried rice, you've got your choice of ingredients. So fried rice is, you can use what you have on hand. So that's what the good thing is about making a quick fried rice. You can use what you have on hand. Now the main things you want to make sure you do have is you want to make sure you have some sesame oil and some soy sauce, because soy sauce is your salt in here. So if you noticed, I haven't used any salt or any seasoning. Soy sauce is the salt, and it's going to give the color to the rice, so you're going to need it anyway. So those are the main two things with making fried rice that you need to have on hand. So you want to make sure you get that authentic fried rice flavor. Look for a certain flavor, and that sesame oil, it does it. Now I've used a hot oil before with this, a hot chili oil. You can use that hot chili oil only if you like something extremely spicy. So a hot chili oil could work out too. There's a bunch of substitutions you can use. Just a lot of different things you can choose from. It just depends. So it's up to you. Alright, so here I'm going to let this onion go for a couple more minutes. And after this, the dish is going to go fairly quickly. So You watch the chicken and the onions. That's probably what we have to cook the longest, is that chicken, because you want to make sure that chicken is completely done. You don't want to leave any pink on the inside. I used a boneless chicken thigh too, so I did forget to mention that as well. I used a boneless chicken thigh, but you can use any part of the chicken you want. Like I said, it's up to you. You can mix and match and substitute these ingredients. It's not hard to do it, so all right, so we'll just keep this going for a minute or so, like I said before. So we're almost done with this, because remember I said you don't want it to turn brown around the edges. So at this point you don't have to take your onions out. As you can see, you can just put your eggs right in, 1 or 2 eggs, depending on how much rice you're making. So you don't have to take that out at all. You can just put that in there. All right, just get it scrambled, and you need like a soft scramble. You don't need a hard scramble right here. It's not necessary. So a soft scramble. I'm gonna move it out of the way. So I'm gonna put some oil in there. Yep. And it's time to put our rice in. So break it up if you can. If you bought it from a Chinese food place, then you want to break it up as best you can. But if not, you'll just break it up in the pan. That is minced garlic going in. So you only want to stir this for a minute. Garlic will burn, and if that garlic burns, this part of your dish is ruined. You have to redo it. So don't let your garlic burn. So all right, stir it around just like this. Because once again, we're going to put a little bit more oil, and then that's when the rice is going in. So it's time. So this is going to go very quickly. That's the rice, so you can see it's extremely cold. Look at that. It's the entire carton of rice from the Chinese food restaurant. So you just want to break it up as best you can. Now when this rice starts cooking and it gets warm, it's going to be easier to break it. But right now, you just want to break these really, really big pieces up into smaller pieces, if you will. Alright, so just want to get them small enough so that it warms through and through, because once it warms, it's easier to deal with the rice then, so you don't end up with these chunks when you're done with the dish, so that's cool. Alright. So what we're going for at this point in the dish, you're going for flavor and the color. So you're going for a certain look for your fried rice. You're going for a fantastic flavor, but you want a beautiful caramel-like color to your rice as well. So, all right, yep, the pan is hot. Don't try this at home if you're not experienced enough. Pan is hot, but as you can see, I'm grabbing these chunks of rice and kind of breaking them up. All right. So now it's frying up good. So now you see how the pan is dry at the bottom right there? You want to put a little more oil. I am using olive oil, as I said before, but you can use any kind of oil you want. Grapeseed, corn oil, vegetable oil, canola oil, whatever your choice is. Doesn't matter. It's all going to work. Doesn't matter. All right. And so at this point, you want to hear your rice frying. You want to hear it. That's ginger. I decided to use a dry ginger, but you can use fresh ginger and chop it up into really, really small pieces. I put a little bit of a chicken seasoning salt. So, as I said, the soy sauce is the salt for us in this dish. So you don't need a lot of any other kind of salt. As a matter of fact, if you're on a sodium restricted diet or something like that, then you can just use a little bit of soy sauce and you don't have to put in any other kind of salt. So, all right. As I said, I'll list the ingredients in the description box below. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, that like, and that share button. I really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. All right, let's keep going with this rice. Now, look at the color. So that's what we're looking for. The color is coming in. So that's what you want to see right there. You want to make sure you're getting that nice caramel looking color. So it's a brown color we're looking for. All right, so you can add oil. You can add as much or as little as you like. The wok is still gonna cook the rice, so doesn't make a difference, but you can add more oil at this point if you want to. So if you move your rice and you see that your pan is extremely dry, like you don't see any beads of oil under that rice when you move it, you can put more oil. Okay, here's where we're dealing with the flavor right here. So as you can see, I'm tasting. So I'm looking for that rice to be nice and delicious. Don't want to oversalt it because we do have to put in jerk seasoning and jerk chicken. So you want to make sure here you're really careful. So you see I'm adding a little more soy sauce. So that means I'm not getting that flavor I want as far as salt. So you don't want a bland jerk fried rice either. So you want to make sure your rice is seasoned even before you put the chicken in the jerk seasoning. You want to make sure you got a nice flavor on your rice. All right, still breaking up chunks because you don't want to see any of those white chunks. You want to make sure that every grain of rice is covered with flavor. But you do not want chunks, and you don't want to see any white, because if you do, of course, that means there's no seasoning on it, and we don't want that. So that's right. Keep working your rice. Keep stirring. So it's hot, and at this point, I do have the wok on a medium-high heat. So you just want to make sure. Keep it on a medium high. Not so much now. If you're going to keep it on a high heat, then you're going to have to stir it. You're going to have to keep stirring constantly, which is why these things are called stir fry. Stir fry foods, that's why. Because if you have it on a high heat, you will constantly stir. Because you don't want it to stick, burn, or get charred at the bottom. So you got every reason. Now look at that rice. Exactly what we're looking for. So at this point, we can put our chicken in. Remember, the chicken is completely done already, so this is not going to take as much time as it would take if you used raw chicken or even a half-cooked chicken. So that's why I cooked the chicken completely, so that I don't have to worry about trying to cook it at the end rather than getting this mixed up and incorporated. So I'm going to put the rest of the chicken in there so you can see all of that seasoning and that juice in that bowl. Definitely, yes. All right, so get this mixed up really well. Yes. Now, at this point, I add jerk seasoning, but you can add as much or as little as you like. So it depends on your taste buds, and it depends on how hot you want your rice. So if you want milder rice, then naturally you will put a lesser amount of the jerk seasoning in there. All right, so that's going to give us a little bit of color too. That jerk, it's going to give us a little bit of color too, as well as flavor. So, all right, that's what we want right there. Now at this point, if you want to throw in raw green onions, you can. But we've already put onions in there earlier, so I will use for garnish, but not necessarily, in the dish. But at this point, if you did, you could. All right, it's time to serve. This dish is done. Thanks, everybody. Look at that. This is what it looks like when it's completely done. So you can see every bit of what's in that dish. Please enjoy it. Go make it. I know I will. Thanks for watching Savory Spices. See y'all next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.